Each human has their own philosophy. It has the lifestyle of a person or a group, and they guide their behavior in search of self realization. But what is the philosophy? Philosophy is a set of reflections on the sense, properties, causes, and effects of natural things, especially on man and the universe. This is also a philosophical system or systematic set of reason exposed by a thinker. That there are many grades in history. There are many branches of philosophy, but in this case, we're going to focus on ethics, aesthetics, metaphysics, and epistemology, four of the most important in the world. Starting with ethics. To live, do we need to aim for happiness, knowledge, virtue of the creation of beautiful effects? Many philosophers in the world have very different ideas about life. Each of them has many existential questions about what is the correct way to live life. That is where ethics comes in, which is the philosophical discipline that studies the good and the good evil, and its relationships with morality and human behavior. One of the best philosophers was Jeremy Bentham. He established that the best action is the one that produces the greatest happiness and well being for the greatest numbers of people involved and maximizes utility. For example, in real life, the main belief of this philosophy is that the morally correct answer or the correct action will bring the greatest happiness to the greatest number of people, and that sometimes happens. Continuing with aesthetics, this is the branch of philosophy that studies the nature of beauty and the perception of it by individuals, for which it is closely related to art. It can be said that it is the science whose object primordial is a reflection on the problems of art. Aesthetics philosophically analyzes the values that are contained on it. It studies the widest and best stories of Elizabethan knowledge, as well as the different forms of art. Plato, one of the greatest philosophers, distinguishes between the world of sensibility and the world of thought. The perception of the physical, material, and sensible world is based on impulses and sensation of the senses, while the world of knowledge and thought is based on ideas. Kant, for his part, maintains that aesthetic satisfaction is purely contemplative. It is an endless purpose. He considers that the forms of things should serve as a means to obtain from them a feeling of pleasure. What is metaphysics? Metaphysics is a branch of philosophy that studies the central problems of philosophical thought. The main objectives of metaphysics are erratic, understanding both an ontological and theoretical aspect that will generate different interpretations about the predominance and importance of one or another aspect. This is one of the C's of defining metaphysics, since the aforementioned philosophers each had their position on what metaphysics was. But we cannot forget that every person who thinks has a metaphysical position. Aristotle metaphysics fixes the object of the first philosophy, a science on the first principles and causes of all that exists, on being in general, on a sense, unlikely other science that study a specific concrete being. In this, Aristotle examines the philosophical conceptions of almost all his predecessors, and in particular those of Plato, finally the Epistemology. Turning metaphysics up to date, it is closely related to doubts about the existence of God. Is God really the creator of the universe? Which is an argument that raises fundamentally philosophical questions in relation to ontology and involves a debate between different ideas, whose expression it is not usually limited to the world of reason but extends to belief. Finally, epistemology. Epistemology is the branch of philosophy that deals with the philosophical problems that surround the theory of knowledge. Epistemology deals with the definition of knowledge and related concepts, the sources, the criteria, the types of possible knowledge, and the degree to which is true, as well as the exact relationship between the one who knows and the known object. Nietzsche, another of the greatest philosophers related to epistemology, considers that confidence in the possibility of this type of knowledge rests on an even more basic belief. The belief in some type of absolute reality, however, if this absolute reality is a construction of human fantasy. If God doesn't really exist, reliance on this kind of knowledge is meaningless. If we still want to talk about knowledge, Nietzsche concludes, we must accept its relative nature. All human knowledge is a mere interpretation of the world. It depends on the vital perspective in which the individual who creates it finds himself. In conclusion, philosophy is very important in the life and in the daily life. Through the semester, I learned how each philosopher has his way of thinking as well as ourselves. In fact, in the video, what I did was to put many opinions of philosophers in each branch, since for me they were the best ones who thought more like me, and this is a good thing since we can each have different beliefs and learn a lot from the others, as well as think about many things and learn between the good and the bad. Through the semester, we investigate on many philosophers. I realized that each one has an aspect in which I agree with some more, and this is very important. You learn many things investigating about them, and they all have a great contribution to humanity. Each one has different beliefs, and I learned a lot about philosophy and its branches and how it's important for this world. Thank you.